Hey everybody, welcome to Bullpen Sessions. I'm talking today with an old friend and teammate and a guy whose story you guys really need to listen to. This is Mike DiFelice. He's a catcher who played in the big leagues for 13 years. And how he got to catcher, I think, is one of the coolest stories that's around. And I think, no matter what sport you're playing, no matter how old you are, we'll get to what kind of makes it unique and what and how he got there and how cool that is and how it's a lesson in sports and life kind of to get there. So I'm going to call him DiFelice. I'm going to call him Mike. So you guys, we've known each other forever, but D, thanks for joining, man.
Anytime, Snide. So yeah, that's his nickname. I don't even know. I think I called him Chris when my daughter was here. It was the first time I called him Chris. I think maybe the second day I met him or so. We, in college, we all have nicknames and stuff. So it's been a long time, a lot of memories, and I'm just glad to be here today.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thank you. So, yeah, we played at University of Tennessee together, and then we also played against each other because we both played in junior college, and Mike was at or D was at Brown State, and I was at Spartanburg Methodist Junior College. So I got a lot of history there against each other, and then we came together and played at UT, and then D, just let's go way back, wind it back to like you were born in Philly, or
Philly, 1969, Philly. I was born in Philly, and Italian parents, two Italian immigrants, so full-blooded Italian. Got three older brothers. I think we moved to Athens, Georgia when I was 4 and a half. I think it was right around my birthday. Growing up as a kid, it was basically, I don't know how to put it in a nutshell. Sports, Italian food.
I've had a lot of that
stuff. A lot of love. Yeah. I think for me, some of the stories are probably told to me because, you can't go back that far. But as far as I can remember, I've always was playing sports. And probably because of my three brothers.
Yeah, that's probably true, right? I mean, you had older brothers and they all probably played sports and you played sports and then you probably did I think it was our generation too. We played baseball and basketball and football, or we played other sports besides just baseball all day long, right? I mean,
totally different.
Summertime we played baseball, but when it was time for football, we played football.
Yeah.
So
just kind of went with the seasons.
Did you do that? I mean, were you start out in Little League? And then you went in?
I mean, I'm not sure if there was no AAU programs back in, when I was a kid, and it was basically just Little League, and then the all-star team if you made it, and that was pretty much your summer. There was no really summer. I don't remember any, like when I was between the ages of 9 and till I got to high school, like any travel teams or little all-star teams. It was either your local Little League if you made your all-star team.
Yeah.
You got to play till I just remember like 4th of July was like a big day in Athens, Georgia, right? Because we're always playing, like if you made, now I was fortunate enough to make the Little League team. We got a good story about that too. When I was 10. Yeah. But I just remember all those days, and that was it. And then you just got ready for the next, if you played other sports, you got ready for it. So for me, it was pretty much football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring. They did soccer. When I was growing up, soccer and baseball were in the spring. So you either couldn't really do both. No one really did both back then.
Yeah, so I mean, you chose baseball, you chose soccer.
Yeah, that was it. And so for me, it was an easy choice. I mean, now that I know it's slow as crap, but back then, when your brothers don't do it, you kind of, I think some of you are forced into it, just being a little kid, you're there regardless of whether I wanted to be or not. I was at a Little League field, whereas I was at a football field, a basketball field, because I had three older brothers. My Johnny was 9 years older than me. So, we did, our lives were at the fields.
And then it kept us out of trouble, dude. I mean, it was something that kept us, a little bit of structure to make sure that we're there, and then we learn something, and then we play some, and then we have fun with our teammates and that kind of thing. What position did you play? Do you remember?
So it was weird, man. I mean, I basically grew up a pitcher.
Okay.
Like I was kind of known for pitching, but I was my own worst enemy. I want to do everything. I just was a baseball player. So I pitched, I hit. If I caught my brother, he would catch me, or
Right.
I played shortstop mainly. It was kind of typical cliche little leaguer. I played, I pitched and I played shortstop.
Right.
So pretty much.
You probably had a great arm, right? I mean, that
Yeah,
was
great on. I mean, I threw
you throwing.
I'm not, me, Snide. I'm pretty humble, but yeah, I threw my first no hitter on my 10th birthday.
Nice.
And the story goes, I found this out later in life, like
Okay.
years. I'm a grown man with kids, and we're all talking. My dad was still alive, rest your soul, Pop, a good one. He was coaching. He was coaching us, coaching me. My brother Angelo was a year. He was 19 months, so he was on the team. Me and him were on a team at the time. So in Little League, you have to, I think it was 9 years old. It was 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Right? We played like minor league baseball.
Yeah, you had minors and majors.
Yeah.
And then that cut off 12.
Yeah, we didn't have like a T-ball, a coach pitch. I don't remember. If we did, I don't remember any of that. Plus, I think part of it, as a 6-year-old, I was throwing. I was the only one that could throw to play. Like I was striking guys out.
Right.
And I test that to my brothers, because no matter what, whether I wanted to or not, we're going to play 2-on-2, youngest and oldest, and I think part of it, I had no choice. But then as you I do remember, like now I wanted to compete with my brothers. Like I didn't want to just, all right, you're the fourth, you're the youngest, you're fourth, you got to play. Like now I wanted to be good at it. I wanted to compete with them. And then I wanted to try to be better than them, just kind of like human nature. But
yeah,
the main thing, I think they really helped me. I mean, I was probably throwing a wiffle ball at 4, for all I know. Or swinging bats because they were, I know that we played 2-on-2 everything. We used to make up games, and if it, they're probably a huge part of why I had a chance to get to the big leagues, or even playing sports. You think about your older brothers, they're a big influence. They could influence you negatively or positively in a sense.
Right.
It was, we all did the kind of the same thing. So it was easy to, adapt to.
Yeah.
And I just thrived, man. I couldn't wait to, I just wanted to play all day, you get your homework done. I was in uniform. I was ready.
Totally, man. I'm right there with you. That's all I wanted to do was get done with school so I could get out and play. We had the same neighborhood thing. I didn't have the brothers, but we had the brothers, from another mother kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Basically, you got your group.
Yeah, we'd be out in the street. We'd have a certain corner we played at, and tennis ball with the aluminum bat and that kind of thing, man, or wiffle ball. We used to play wiffle ball all the time. So what happened? Like, let's move from like you're a kid, 12, to let's move into like middle school, high school. Were you still playing all the sports? Did you focus in on baseball? When do you remember doing that, or what was your path at that point?
I think basically it was through Little League. I think we moved to Tennessee my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
It was kind of weird, but yes, through Little League, I played all 3 sports. Basketball was the first sport to go.
Okay.
And I think I was terrible.
Yeah, same here, man. I was just a big white guy.
There was no, I was a coach's nightmare. I was good. I tried. I just was not good. I fouled everyone.
Right.
It just that's all you heard was that. And then you hear my mother scream, "Oh!" I went up to try to block a shot one time, poor kid. I smacked him so hard on the forehead, and I don't know, I heard like tetanus or something. I mean, it looks like you're doing it on purpose.
Right.
I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was just terrible at basketball.
I get it.
So that was probably the first one. I'd say probably 7th, 8th grade.
And you
in high school,
when you got this, high school Bearden,
Yeah, it was interesting. So I went to Bearden High School my freshman year. We still grew up in Athens, Georgia. My the two older brothers were already out of high school, but Angelo, the doctor, he's 19 months. So we were just basically, if I was a freshman, he was a junior. So,
Hmm.
still not, so we went, my dad had taken a job, but we still had a house in Athens. Like they were trying to sell it. I don't know the whole thing, but that's for a year we kind of commuted, or he did. So we finally get us there freshman year. I remember I walk out to their football team. We get there in August. This was like, I don't know if I was a great football player, but I was pretty good, but I was definitely a linebacker or hitter. I was a defensive and I remember going out to Bearden High School, and I came from I didn't get to play in that program till later, but there was Clark Central High School in Athens, Georgia. It was
Yeah, they were
huge
famous.
Georgia
Yeah,
football back then, and probably still now. It's right up there with Texas and all those others.
yeah,
So their football program they had a freshman team, a B team, a C team, and then a varsity. Like they had
right.
every
It's so many
age.
people playing that
Yeah,
they
100 kids, man. It was big football program.
I remember, man. They were famous
Famous. Yeah.
for their high school program.
Yeah, I ended up going back. We won a state championship in my sophomore year. It was weird. I
Wow.
went to Bearden my freshman year, walked on the football team. They didn't really
You didn't know it. You didn't know
about
anybody.
me or something, so I just kind of stood there.
Yeah.
I just stood there. Nobody wanted me because I was kind of small for a middle linebacker.
Right.
I remember this guy named Coach Pate. He was a ex defensive back for the Buffalo Bills, and I'm just kind of standing. He's the only one that took me. He put me in the strong safety. I don't even know any of those back positions.
Right.
No one ever put speed. So I think it was either strong safety back then or something. And I go, I never played it. He goes, that's fine. He goes, if you see them hand it off, you just run up and tackle. If he drops back, just drop back and try to cover something. That's kind of what he said.
All right,
So I
yeah.
went in, I'm like, all right. So I stood there. I didn't even think pass or run.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing. As soon as they hiked the ball, I just started sprinting towards the backfield.
Mhm.
And just luckily, it was like a pitch, and I just leveled this kid.
I can imagine, dude.
So I became a middle linebacker pretty quick and played the freshman team, played baseball there. I'm dragging the South Side.
That's all right, man. You're just so you got the beard in freshman year.
Yeah.
You played football and baseball.
And baseball, yeah. If they didn't have a freshman team, I'm bringing this up because I live in Florida now, right? When I used to do a lot of volunteering, and Pinellas County, they had no JV programs. I don't know why.
Hmm.
So there's no freshman team. Like these kids would come out. I remember going out and helping a guy. Had 60 kids going out there, and I could just feel just the varsity. Wow. They had like no JV. I don't know if it was some type in the school system, but I was thinking back, like, man, like where are these kids going to go now?
Yeah.
You're going to lose. You might lose someone that. So back in the day, if Bearden didn't have a freshman team, I mean, I felt like I was good enough to make the varsity, but you're a freshman, right? There's senior and whatever. But I went there, and then we went back to Georgia for my sophomore year, and then my fall, we won a state in my junior year. Junior year
baseball?
in football. So I had a weird high school.
I didn't realize you did that. Yeah, I didn't realize you did that.
Either. I wasn't that happy. I had no choice. Angelo was,
sure.
My brother wanted, have a choice. My parents would tell me where to go. That was the only weird thing.
So freshman year, you're in Knoxville. Your sophomore, your junior year, you're in Athens.
Halfway through my junior year. So that was weird. So sophomore year, I go back Athens, and then now I kind of had a little say. I made, Clark Central's big football program. Yeah. So in the spring, as a sophomore, I earned a starting job.
Okay.
As a linebacker, as a white middle linebacker, undersized.
Yeah.
I'm sure you edited that one part. So I definitely wanted to play. Now I didn't want to go to Knoxville. I was like, I wanted to stay there and play football. So we're going to be good. And we did. We won a state championship.
Wow.
So then next thing you know, I'm back in Knoxville on January 1st. So and I went back. Yeah. So I pretty much junior year in the spring, I was pitching for Bearden High School.
Okay.
beer until I graduated.
And so when you got back to Bearden, you were pitching?
I was mainly a pitcher, Scott, all the way until I was mainly a pitcher, position player too. Like that's the thing. I mean, I was my own worst enemy. I just didn't do one thing. I always, always try to play, even if I was pitching.
Absolutely, man. I
You
mean,
figured that out at Tennessee when we got there, right?
I figured that out in hindsight. I mean, now I'd be like, don't
I
ever
remember I learned how to play first base. I didn't.
right play first
I
base.
was
They
a
put me in
goose.
first base, but as soon as I got to high school, it was like you're just a pitcher, and that's all you're going to do.
Yeah.
Get used to it. And I was like, okay. But now, man, I'm like, they put me at first base every now and then, but they wouldn't let me play. So,
Yeah.
I totally get it. And so you were,
I could still swing a bat too back then. I mean, I was mainly known for pitching, probably as far as, high school or papers or little league, always had a really good arm.
yeah,
I just knew that eventually that window was going to close.
right.
As far as you got to commit to one to be really good at it. We didn't know that back then, but as you get to those certain levels, but I could still hit. I was a good hitter in high school too, but I got recruited as a pitcher.
Yeah. So you got to your senior year, you started getting recruited.
Yeah.
What was your decision tree there? I mean, so what you had some offers. You ended up going to Roane State, is that right?
Yeah.
Junior college? Yeah.
Interesting, man. It is. I don't know, with all the social media today, maybe things would have been different. But you're thinking back then, there wasn't. There was. I don't have my own web page or anything like that. You're whoever's college recruiters are coming in there.
Yeah.
But I was highly touted. I mean, I was in Knoxville, probably like most guys are in their cities. I was probably the best pitcher in the city at the time. I had a 1 ERA through a couple no hitters every year, one hitters, but.
Well, all we had was Baseball America, and that came out like a week later.
That was it.
It was like a week later. So I didn't even know.
Yeah, that was it. It was like
things happened at the time.
I never really I went to a Mets pre-draft.
Okay.
In 87 as a high school. I remember that was like I remember getting that phone call. I was like, and I was technically, Tennessee was looking at me. The Clemson came. So Clemson comes into town.
Yeah.
I'm Italian. I got a little,
play
the game the right way, right? I can get a little hot-headed, right? If you do something dirty. So we're playing, Clemson comes into town. And they call my parents. I don't know how they did it back then. I just know that he was coming to watch me pitch. I lasted 2 innings. I was a little nervous,
Yeah, I'm sure, man.
Fulmer's son was catching.
Okay.
Junior, right? And he went bad at all. I think he missed a curveball or something. There was a man on third. Supposedly, I don't know. I didn't think it was a rival, right? But like how you were good in your city when they's like, oh, Chris Snyder's pitching, like everybody's trying to beat you or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
for sure, man.
I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to go out there and pitch.
Yeah.
So I guess there was some rival. We were playing Central High School. Todd Helton's older brother was on. Rodney, right? He ended up going to Florida. Play to play. Former, I don't know if I took the curveball. I wasn't pitching very well at the time anyway. Like, I admit I was probably a little nervous, Clemson guy. Play to play, I go to cover a plate, and the kid comes in with an elbow right in the face. And team brawl. I mean, I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I'm a little brother, man. I was taught certain things, but plus in the game, you don't, if you, you don't cheap shot anyone. So we just start brawling. I think I was the only one out there for like 30 seconds. What they said, like, I think my dugout was kind of, we don't know. We're in high school. We're just, I never heard from Clemson again. Last time, I think Vanderbilt came in, watched me play at Jack Russell in the summer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Bombs out of Jack Russell as a high schooler and threw pretty good. They sent me a packet,
right?
But I think it was really hard to get into Vanderbilt back then. So I think once I sent them all my GPA and everything, I was
thanks with no thanks.
Yeah, that was the end of that. Long story short, I wasn't going anywhere. In the middle of the summer, right after my high school season, I was at that moment, I wasn't playing any baseball anywhere. I had no college, no anything. I'm in a tournament, watching somebody play. George Ogilvy, head coach of Roane State Community College, walked up and said, "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" I talked to him before. He goes, he never recruited me because he didn't think this is what he told me. He goes, "I never really recruited you, Mike, because I thought you go to a major college or something like that." He goes, "Where'd you end up going?" I mean, he asked that question first. I said, "Coach."
Right. Right.
So I'm not going. I go, "I have nowhere to play." So he goes, "Well, if you want to go to Rome State, get a full ride, whatever JUCO full ride is, or something.
Cool.
Because
Yeah.
you got to pay for your own living anyway." I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So I said, I never talked to another person. I drove down there the next day and signed. I went to Rome State.
Got it. That's cool. Yeah, I remember. So we
Playing.
ended up playing against each other at Spartanburg Methodist. I was at Spartanburg. You were at Roane. And at that point, you were pitching, but were you not playing third base? Was that something that
Yes,
came up?
I
Okay.
was. I was playing third. Yeah, I was playing. I did everything there. Like I said, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. I want to do everything. George. So I would, I played third base.
Okay.
I'd start like the double headers because we mainly on the weekend. So I'd probably start one game. I don't think I pitched against you guys. Did we just play one game against you?
Yeah, it was just one. Yeah.
Yeah, I played third because I remember Reggie was just like before. I'm looking in the outfield and he's standing on third base. I'm like, what is going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. For everybody
I
to
don't
see,
even know if the ball hit the fence yet.
the guy, the guy that played Reggie Sanders played on my junior college team. If you guys don't know him, look him up. He was a stud. And the crazy story about him, and I'm hoping to get him on too to talk about it, because the 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 myth is right now that our coach went to go down and watch him play, and it was his first year ever playing baseball, and it was his senior year, and his coach had him playing first base. And here's a guy who played 1 year of high school ball at first base and got recruited to play at Spartanburg Methodist Junior College. He played shortstop for us for a couple of years, and he would probably be the first to admit too, didn't really know what he was doing. And there's a story, a great story right there. He went from shortstop for 2 years in junior college, got drafted by the Reds. I think he was up in the big leagues in like 3-4 years, maybe at the most, and ended up guys having a 12-year career, is probably maybe Hall of Fame one day. I don't know. I mean, he's one of a handful of guys to hit like 30 home runs, steal 30 bases, and just never had a chance to play and didn't play at all growing up. So that's just a unique story there, just like yours. So you went to Roane State, and then you signed with Tennessee, and I signed with Tennessee, and then you came in. Did we come in the same year, or were you the year after me? I was there in '88. So
1 year after, because I got there '89, fall of '89.
Yeah, that's right. You're a year behind me.
Yeah, because I walked on. I was in the middle of the summer. I told my parents I wasn't going back to Rome.
Yeah.
And no offense to George or anything, like I was part of it was a little bit of everything.
Right.
I was in Harriman, Tennessee. It was just, just a little town, but I would start a game, I'd play third, and then I would come in and close.
Right.
If they needed to. Like I was just spent. I don't know what it was, a weird time, and I wish I could remember more of it. I think part of me was just like, man, it's just not worth it. Like I'm either going to go take my chance. I said, you know what? I told my parents, I said, I'm not going back here. George, Coach Ogilvy wasn't very happy. I don't blame him, but he kind of understood my position. I said, listen, man, I'm gonna rot here in a sense. Like it's just not good. I'm gonna take my chances. I'm gonna enroll into Tennessee, and I'm gonna go knock on Mark Connor's desk or door, and I'm gonna try to walk on. Because at the time, now Coach Connor did me, he did me a favor, but every college used to have those walk-on days.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if they still do, where anybody could go out there and try out.
Right.
So this is my bright plan, man. I rolled in. My parents weren't that happy, but I said I'm gonna go to those 2 tryout days, and I'm gonna make the team or I'm just going to be a college student. Like I was kind of at a crossroad in my career then.
Dude, think about that crossroad right now.
Huh?
Think about that crossroad right now. I mean, I'm sure you've had some hindsight now, but here you
That's
are. You could have easily just said, okay, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably would have gone on, and who knows what you would have been doing now, whatever. But instead you went down this path and you said, hey, I'm going to go try out for UT. You tried out for UT, and what happened? I mean, you made the team, right?
Yeah. I've never knocked on Connors. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I would have gone back another year at JUCO. I would have played. Like it was either I would have fulfilled I would have gone. My decision was either I stay there and play another year,
right,
and then see what happens, but I knew it was the right decision. Obviously hindsight.
Yeah.
I remember knocking on Goose's door and walked in and said, Coach Connor, Mike DiFelice. I'm not sure if you remember me or not. Yeah, Mike, I do, because they recruited me pretty good.
Okay.
Probably, hindsight, they probably should have signed me just because I was a local kid, whether
right
or not, that was a knock on Tennessee some too. And not just me, like you got to get some of your in-state talent.
Yeah. And he really brought in people from everywhere that first year. So,
Northeast, his big Northeast guy, that's where he was.
Yeah.
So he goes, I said, I signed and enrolled in Tennessee. I was, I'd like to try out for a team or walk on. And he was good, man. Like could have made a difference. He goes, Mike, I know who you are. You recruited heavy. We probably, and I don't know if he said that. Maybe I'm in my mind, give myself a little ego. Like, yeah, maybe we should have, tried harder to sign you or something. But either way, he goes, how's your arm? I'd like to get you on the mound or go, Coach, I'm coming here. I go, my arm's shot. I go, I'm coming here to play third base. I'm a third baseman.
Okay.
I laugh about it because I know it's not even you knew, like I wasn't very good at it. It's I can make like a diving play. I mean, it was awful, but I was not like.
Well, the ball that hit right at you, you had a little trouble with.
I had no trouble. Like even like the easy ones.
You had to move your feet more.
If you got to like one hop, if you hit a smoker down the line, one hop, I'd make it. I'd throw your ass out all day long. But anyway, we went there. He goes, well, I'd really like for you to pitch. I go, Coach, your arms. Back then it was still like the ray gun was still kind of Jones and Ray. They were still pretty prevalent. I think the ray gun.
Yeah.
Was that what it was called? The ray gun?
The ray gun. Yeah, that's the one that picked it up out of your hand.
Yeah. Or no, it was like technically slower or what. It was like I don't know what it was. Which one was better or not? But I go, Coach, I'm throwing. One day I throw 80. One day I throw 90. Like it's just my arm's shot. I don't know. He goes, you just let me know when you want to pitch because it's kind of why opportunity. He goes, Mike, we only dress out. Was it 22 or 23?
23, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 23. So 25. He goes, you got to make the 23-man roster. Really? He goes, I'm going to give you a uniform in the fall, but you got to make, you got to make the roster somehow, right? I'm going to do it in the third base. I don't know if you remember that. Coach Permakov comes out one day. And he goes, everybody, all the infielders meet us out. And I love Bill. Bill's best. We joke. If he called right now, I'd talk about the same thing. I'd give him crap. Probably he could be the reason why my career lasted as long as it did because of this thing. He walked out. He goes, all the infielders, once you guys come out to the field, everybody get at third base. About an hour early practice, we're gonna do some infield drills. We all go out there. We stand there. Permakov comes out with 2 PVC pipes on his shoulder. Probably, I don't know, 3/4 inch or whatever. Maybe 6 foot. And we're, I've been hit ahead a lot, but I'm not a, pretty bright guy. I'm trying to process what we're going to do, with PVC pipes. So he goes, all right, gentlemen. You remember he was a military guy, right?
Oh, yeah,
totally. He was a brick shit house at 60, He did nothing slow. Nothing, everything was 100%.
Yeah.
So he walks out, he goes, and he lays one PVC pipe about 5 feet from the cut of the grass by the bag, maybe 4 feet, right? And then another PVC pipe about halfway or 3/4 way from home plate to third, right? They were probably about 10 feet apart. And he goes, all right, boys, we're going to work on bad hops. We're going to work on feeling bad hops. I'm just like, what? That's why they call it a bad hop, because
Uh,
you can't really practice them. That's why they're
right,
called bad hop. Right? I'm
right.
trying to realize. So he goes, all right, somebody get up there, and I got about 7 people deep. I'm like, I'm not gonna be the first. Permakoff, he doesn't know, throws the ball up and just hits a missile. And it hits and misses the first PVC pipe. It hits the second one. I don't know if it was Impy or Imperial, whoever was first. They just duck. They just dive out of the way. And we're all standing behind them like a bunch of idiots.
Right,
And
right,
like
right.
smokes the next dude in the chest. We all move out of the way. And he proceeded to do this drill. And I had a bruise on my arm, my neck, my
Wow,
chest. I think I might have took one foot. Like it was the next day.
brutal.
I I went to Coach Connors right after class. I went to Goose's. I don't think I told you guys this. Knocked on his door. Say, Coach. I said, my arm feels pretty good. I don't know if it was just the time off or just playing third, like just short toss, long toss. But it feels pretty good. I think if you're still interested, I'd love to throw a bullpen.
Good call,
Like,
brother.
number one, I'm terrible third baseman. This psychopath, I gotta get out. So I think I threw like one bullpen, maybe 10, 15 pitchers, something. Then we went live. I went from bullpen to live batting practice. And I remember it was dark, and who comes in about the first pitch I threw was and Jason Imperial.
Oh yeah,
Right? He's the third baseman.
yeah,
His Goose is kind of high recruit.
yeah,
That's what number one I knew. Like number one, I'm not going to play third. I mean, if Impy's going to play third, right?
right.
But it just has to be Impy. And I just remember getting on the mound. I said, listen, I always had control. I never was worried about being wild, right? But I was just like, I just got to throw as hard as I freaking can because my ball is straight as a string. Didn't do any of that,
Yeah,
And I rear back, dude, and I let it go. As soon as I release it, I just go, it was going right at his head.
oh no.
And I just release it, and I'm like, oh shit. And next thing you hear is, bam! Hits him on the side of the helmet. Luckily, hit him square on the side of the helmet. And he goes down like a ton of bricks. And I'm numb. This is what I don't know what's going on now. I'm just on a mound, but Goose tells me this later in life. I hit him, he goes down. I'm just like numb, like no expression at all. I don't know what to do. Inside, I'm going, well, I guess I better study harder.
Yeah.
Done, right? I just hit his third baseman number, like his ice recruit. So I throw the pitch, he goes down, trainers run out there. I turn around, have the big bag of ball, like the big thing. I just grab a ball and just get back on the mound and just stand there like this, like a freaking zombie, dude, like no emotion, just like, just everything's going through my mind. Like,
Right, I'm sure.
hopefully it gets up, like, fuck, I hope it didn't hurt him. I'm done with baseball. What else am I going to do? They finally got him out. I ended up throwing like pretty good, dude. I was, let some stuff go behind a case. Goose goes out. He goes, how do you think you did? And I don't know if he was kidding. I was like, man, hopefully Impy's not in the hospital. I go, I got a little rusty at first. I feel pretty good. He goes, right then is what he told me. He goes, you're going to be our closer. So our whatever year that was, 89 or 9?
Yeah, 89. 89, yeah.
Yeah. He goes, you're going to be our closer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And years later, he told me, because I saw him, I go, Goose, I go, seriously, man. I mean, I know you're a good baseball guy and all that, and you can see pitching, but I threw 10 pitches. I threw 15 live pitches. The first pitch I threw, I almost killed Imperial. And I don't even know if I threw a breakable, like in 15. And then you
tell
me I'm your closer. Like, what the frick, man? He goes, Mike, I go, the craziest thing is if you hit him, he goes, you hit him and you just turn around and got a ball and got back on the mound.
That's what he saw, man.
He goes, that's the guy. He goes, that's the craziest, crazy.
Right.
blip, blip, blip guy that I need on
Yeah.
the mound because no
Yeah.
matter what, he's not going to be right. I'm like, all right, whatever. So, and that's
Oh wow. Okay,
that's how
dude,
we
I
kind
did
of
not
became
know that.
teammates, really. And I don't know how many people really knew how it happened, or how that went down.
Yeah,
I don't
I didn't know
even
that.
know if he had a closer. So I might have,
No, he
at the
didn't.
end of the day, I could have probably just done it by default because, you know, because there's nobody else. But
Dude, that's great.
yeah,
So so
I
what
made him.
happened? So
I made him. Huh?
so you were a closer. I remember that. You
Right.
were
So
close.
that year we weren't very good.
Yeah, we were bad.
Right. So I mean, we weren't off. The SEC was just good, but we weren't very good.
We had Ben
I think
McDonald,
only
Frank
through.
Thompson.
Yeah, I think we beat Miami, number one team in the country that year.
Right.
First, yeah. I think I only threw maybe 12 innings or something, I don't think I do 20 innings.
Right.
Like a really minimal innings, and I used to force great Goose to teach me how to play first. I got about 40 bats playing first somehow.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
I wanted in there all the time. So that summer he had it worked out a deal with the Waynesboro Generals in a Virginia Valley League
Yep.
with whatever the guy was. I was supposed to pitch, I think it was every other day, at least one inning, right? Like I was going there to pitch. He goes, man,
Right.
I should have pitched you more, even if we weren't winning, just get your inning, get your arm. So you're going out there, you're going to pitch, I thought it was every other day. And then I worked out a deal because I know you're a psycho, because I know you want to hit. So I worked out a deal with the coach, like if he could figure out how to DH you. And I told him you played a little first, but he's like, you're going there to pitch. You're not going there, you're going there to pitch. So I go to Waynesboro. Somebody didn't show up. Somebody was like, one of the players didn't show up. So they needed a hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got the DH right away. I got the DH and I played some first base because I don't know if it was an LSU kid. Somebody showed up late and I just went off.
Nice.
I was raking, and I pitched. Long story short, end of the summer, I hit like 350, 12 jacks. I figured out how to hit.
Uh-huh.
I think I threw 8 innings.
Wow.
6. It wasn't good. Like,
right. He was pissed when you got back. Yeah.
I got back, knocked on his door. I walked in. He goes, well, shit. Excuse my language. He goes, that didn't work. He goes, I go, yeah. I go, but I could hit. He goes, that didn't work. I go, but I figured out how to hit. I want to catch. I told him just like that. I said, I just figured out how to hit. I go, listen, man.
So what made you want to catch? What made you say catcher's what I want to do?
I think I always wanted.
It was always in the back of your mind?
I think deep down, man, I think I was always the type of kid that I just wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to continue to play until somebody told me I couldn't.
Right.
Or I wasn't good enough. I think part of that was it. I think I'd done enough throughout a kid because I caught as a little league and probably senior league. I caught my brother, but is that considered catching?
Right.
No, but I played all that just kind of like I was a third baseman or first baseman.
Right.
So you could do enough to play. I don't know.
Well, all those
but I ultimately there was an opportunity there because somebody had left and it was just Sean McDonald.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
it was just Sean. I love Sean. I thought that I thought I had a little bit more to offer as far, especially arm wise or that. But at the end of the day, I don't think I went there because we needed, there wasn't really another catcher. I think he had a couple of freshmen that he was bringing in, but it was really Sean.
It was PJ Sullivan. I remember he was like a backup dude. And then, but if you think about it, man, at least I'm thinking about it now. You played the corners, you played first and third, where you're just getting bombs and shells and line drives sitting at you all the time. And so that kind of prepared you to be a catcher, right? I mean, you're the backstop, right?
Plus, what was my love?
Yeah.
What was my passion? What I knew the most? I knew that I might not be able to physically advance as a pitcher. I knew my pitching is what I knew and loved the most. The strategy, all of it. Besides the quarters, like all that, I think contributed like you said, to how for me
Hey,
to
you
be
end
able
up
to
being a catcher,
become a
yeah.
catcher,
Yeah.
because you're able to do some of it as a kid. So it's not like I was foreign to it. What I was foreign to is actually the art
Doing
of
it
catching.
every day.
Now learning to be a catcher
Right.
full time. Like you could put me, he could have put me in a college game. It might not have been pretty, but I'm going to catch the balls and figure it out. But there's it's a technique to it. Uh, I don't know, man. I just thought it was an opportunity, and I
Yeah.
remember he said no.
Really.
He goes, that didn't work. I go, yeah, but I can hit, coach. Trying to like. He goes, I don't care. I go, I could catch. I go, I want to be a catcher. You only have Sean McDonald and some freshmen or something. Let's just give me a shot. He said no. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to
Wow.
get you on it now. We're going to get your arm in shape.
Wow.
Like now he's starting to, and I can't. He gave me an opportunity so as soon as I knew at that point when he said no, then like, I'd push the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to play first, get me to, so I knew that this was a serious, all right. So I didn't bring it up, Goose resigned the next day and went back to the New York Yankees.
Now that I do remember, but I didn't know that was the day after he told you weren't going to catch anymore.
Yeah.
Huh.
The thing,
Wow.
it could have been, in my mind, it seemed like it
Yeah.
was all that, it might have been a day, but I'm pretty sure it was because it was like right there. Didn't he pretty much quit right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I think, resigned right away. So I don't know if it was like my little meeting or something we had, but I remember him telling me I want to catch, and he said, no, they're going to get you on the mound, get your arm in shape the way it needs to be. And I said, okay, because at the end of the day, he's the head coach,
Yeah.
and he's giving me the
I wanted to play
opportunities.
ball. Right.
Yeah, man. So, and he resigned the next day, and then
So then you had Delmonico came in, right? And then
Freddie and Barney for the fall.
Freddie left off. They all left. Everybody
Yeah.
left, right?
Yeah. So
Basically.
Freddie was there. They were there through the fall. DeMonico got there in December or
Okay.
in January, like right there after the fall.
I kind of forgot about the whole how it all played out, but and I'll just mention this. We're saying Freddie Gonzalez. He was our catcher's coach, and of course he went on to become the Braves head coach for a long time, the Marlins head coach. I think he's with the Orioles now. But yeah, that another story of a guy who
if it wasn't for Freddie,
worked his way up, and if it wasn't for Freddie, who was a catcher,
I might not have
taught you everything kind of thing, right? In terms of
Barney was the I think had to take over the intern.
Right.
Freddie was, he was one of the coaches, but in a sense, those two guys could have said no too.
Yeah, we're out of here. Yeah.
Freddie's like, he goes, meet me in center field. I go, what? Meet me in center field. Out there, I had catching gear, and we worked. He took me. I go, why am I going to center field? He goes, because you don't know what you're doing. So he put me because he didn't want to chase ball. Because back then, we didn't have like all the cool facility, but I don't know what I did. But because he would put me in the warning track and just pelting balls at me, trying to block, and I'm taking them off the forearms because I'm an infielder, and or they're just hitting it would either hit flesh or wall. It was I don't think any of them hit me in the chest. So, but
wow.
He was available. He made himself available to me, and I was persistent. I was on Fred every day to learn the position.
That's cool. I didn't realize he had that much influence, right? That's cool.
They could have said, they could have said no.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would have meant, but at the end of the day, I could still hit.
So he ended up, you worked with him for that year until Delmonico got there, and then they took off.
Yeah.
Right. And then what was Delmonico like? Okay, you can catch, or where did that go? Where did you go with that?
Not good. I remember. So I don't know when these meetings were when he came. It would seem like it was right before, somewhere in January, like when he got there, because he got there at the end.
Yeah.
I think Chiggy might have had the led the team in hitting in the fall, as far as average.
Right.
And I think it was right there. I ranked it. I don't know, hit 3 something in the fall. Was hitting bombs. I was
Yeah,
Like,
you're on fire,
I
man.
mean, and I mean, it's not I'm humble. I'm just saying at the time, like if you're a coach and you don't know any of these guys, you're at least if anything, this kid could hit. Like he's a hitter, right?
Right.
So
So we got to find a
you know,
place for him, right?
just he I meet with him and I give him some crap too whenever if I see him. The story probably a little different, but this is kind of really how it went to me. He sat down and he goes, Mike, see whatever it was. I didn't hear all his other thing. I just remember him, looking at the roster. It looks like I only got one catcher that I could depend on. Like I think that's the only word I heard. Before he's probably saying, "Yeah, I see you pitched. You do a little bit of that." I just heard that I only have one catcher that I can
Depends.
depend on. I'm kind of sitting there going, "All right, Sean McDonald's he's been here last year, so and then there's me, and then the other little freshmen or whoever were there, and I'm like, huh, all right, that's probably not positive." Kind of went on to say, like, something like to the point where, if you don't play as much, like your senior year, I want to keep, like, I like keeping seniors around for their senior year. You'll have a uniform and all that. And I kind of looked at him and I just like, Coach DeMonico, know me for anything, but a couple of things. Number one, I pretty much led the team in hitting off all, like pretty much every category, I think, except for average by like 1 point with Chiggy or something. I said, I'm learning how to catch to get kind of, figuring out every day. I said, at the end of the day, if I don't play, like, I'm not, I appreciate your offer and stuff, but I'm going to go be a student. I don't appreciate your offer, but I'm not going to just sit on a team just so I can have a uniform. I don't
Right.
need that in my life. And honestly, I didn't. I don't think I was ever. I think I always wanted to try to be a part of.
Yeah.
I
You
want
want
to
to
play,
play.
man.
Yeah.
Like,
You
yeah, I
want to
don't want
play.
to just sit there and have a uniform. So what? So my parents could say I was.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our roles,
Yeah.
right? I always want to be a part of a team, right?
And
I
we're
was
competitive too, right?
as a backup
Right.
player, but so I remember, like, well, pretty good. So, the beginning of that year, you guys were gone. I don't think I played. Like, I want to say it was within the first at least week or so. Like Sean was catching all the games he put me to catch. I remember talking to my dad, and this is probably the first time that I was kind of like, and now I'm a little. Now think I have something to go on. Like, hey, man, at the end of the day, I have proven
That's
that I can do
leverage, right?
some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't proven that I could catch at a college level yet, but I could prove that I've done some, hit. I think he pitched me a little bit that year, just whenever they needed it. My dad said, "You know what?" He goes, "So what are you going to do?" He goes, "You're going to sit there and, feel sorry for yourself or be mad at your coach?" He goes, "What's going to happen?" He goes, "What's going to happen is there's going to be a time when this guy's going to call on you to go up to a bat or catch an inning, and you're going to be, or you're going to have to choose to whether you're going to be ready for that." We put it in certain words like that, and I remember hearing my dad. So I was frustrated as crap. Man, I'm sitting there and I might get an opportunity, but no one else saw that I had 150 swings in a freaking cage before the game, or I'm blocking balls. I'm doing all that. I'm preparing because and I wish I remember the team. I know it was in somewhere in Middle Tennessee. I want to say it was Middle Tennessee. It couldn't have been maybe Tennessee Tech. It seemed like we were playing one of these week teams, a weekday team, right, against one of our local colleges, and I think we were blowing them out, maybe vice versa. But I know it got to where it was like near the end, and it was kind of a blowout game, like up at least 6-7 runs, and he, didn't really give me much notice. Like, "Hey, D, please grab a bat," right? Like, and it was already 1 out in the inning. I went up there and got that, got my bat, and hit a double in the right center gap. My dad was proud. My dad was really proud because you got to be prepared. So you don't know when the opportunity is going to come. You don't know when you can be. You don't always have to. Your situation is not always perfect.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's why you were in the cages.
Control when you get their opportunity, you control how you prepared for it and how emotionally you can handle it. And I think that little lesson probably propelled me. I think it just lasted for a long time. I thought about that throughout all the years of big leagues too. Because
Where you go back and look at those little moments that kind of made the difference, right?
Yeah, man.
But that was it. That was at the beginning of the start.
That was it. So that was it. So then the next, I think he got another bat, and then once he played me in one game, he finally caught me. I think he kind of had to. I'm like, come on, man, that kid's gonna get worn out, double headers,
Yeah.
whatever. But I don't know exactly when it happened, but basically, pretty much the middle of the year, I was our starting catcher.
Got it.
I don't know exactly what we started the catching, the receiving, the catching, the receiving, the blocking, footwork, all that came pretty quick. My arm, I still had a good arm, so I could still throw somebody, but that was kind of the last, it was still kind of long. The
Yeah.
transfer, like that was me and Freddie. And he kind of told me, he goes, man, this is going to be the hardest part. Because
Yeah.
you've been a pitcher and a third baseman, you've been trying to get length. Right now I got to try to get you to get short and then long. And actually, once I figured it out, it happened in the click for throwing people out happened a year later in a summer league. That's when it really, like, all of it really clicked. But at the time, I could block, and I'm still kind of throwing guys out, but it wasn't
consistent. Yeah.
It was more arm strength. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
If I was getting some guys, you had to be pretty quick as a pitcher. And I still think I was a little slow. I don't know what the time was. I could probably make up some time because my arm was getting. Now this bad boy was no more throwing, no more pitching. It started. The shorter I got, long toss, it was, the thing was money. But
yeah, you're actually getting stronger by not pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not pitching, and just I think I put a lot of torque. It was really kind of the same throwing motion. I just shortened it all up.
Was there anybody that was coaching you once at that point, or were you just picking it up by instinct and
So Gonzo was still there. I think Gonzo stayed the whole. I say Gonzo was there the whole spring.
Huh.
Was he not there in 90? He might not have been, but because I know that somebody, but before games, like in the spring,
yeah,
like that's when I started developing this little, like, I would do little high blocks and like quick footwork. Like we were doing all this stuff right before the game. I
remember Coach Simcox and then Coach Hatcher and Delmonico, and then maybe Freddie stayed along, man. I don't remember.
I got to check it because it seemed like I know during my junior year when I was catching, and so that would have been 90. 90.
Yeah, because you were. Yeah. I mean, so the senior year,
we were catching 90, right?
Yeah, Delmonico put you in. You started doing well. That just cascaded onto itself, and you just kept playing. Because I was gone by then, so I was playing.
You were going to 89
ball at that point, so that was 1990.
Yeah, you were drafted. You were playing rookie. You just got drafted.
Yeah, and so you were playing ball, and you were catching, you were hitting. You guys did well. You guys did pretty well, right?
We were 48, and we were ranked.
Yeah,
we were ranked high as I don't know if we got the 10. We were 11 at one point. I remember the big series as we played LSU. They came in at number 1. They had Bird and OJ.
Oh yeah.
And who was the other? Was it Green? Charlie Green back then, maybe? Or some Green?
They always had 9 guys that were studs.
I remember Paul Bird. Like we beat Bird. Yeah, we beat Bird. We beat them 2 out of 3. I did hit a jack against a game winner against Bird.
That was a good feeling, huh?
That was a big feeling, but we couldn't win an SEC.
Yeah.
We were 48 and I think we were 48 and like 19 or something, and we were 500 in SEC.
Yeah.
We didn't even tournament because back then they still was a top 6 or
that's
something.
Right. I remember. Yeah. I mean, SEC's, I guess people probably get it. People get it now, but SEC's like A-ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and especially playing with aluminum bats. Do you imagine we played Frank Thomas and he had aluminum bat? I mean, it was just mind blowing. But I mean, so let's keep going here. So your senior year, at this point, into the year, you're catching, you're doing well, you feel good about catching now. And the Cardinals take you. I had to look up some of your history here, man. The Cardinals take you in
11th round.
11th round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that point, they send you to rookie ball.
Yeah, instead of sending me to Johnson City, which was an hour and a half up the street, up the
Yeah, I
road,
remember. I remember.
they sent me to Hamilton, Ontario,
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
because it was a New York Penn League.
Okay.
So at the time, I guess the New
The
York
summer
Penn
league,
League was
right?
probably more. Yeah, it was a rookie ball right
Yeah.
after draft. I think the New York Penn League was kind of more for the college guys.
Uh-huh.
It was like a little, they had a couple of leagues, but Johnson City was right there. So I went to Hamilton, Ontario, and had a terrible year. First year,
Yeah.
not good.
So then what? So
Then I went
first
back
year's
to.
over. Then you went
I
back
went
to
to.
where?
So I went to my first spring training,
Okay.
1982.
And that was Clearwater.
Yeah, St. Pete. Yeah, St. Pete.
Yeah.
Cardinals were in St. Pete.
Yeah.
They're kind of right next to each other.
And Phillies were in Clearwater, right? Is that what?
Clearwater, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, at the time, I think they were still. Yep, they were in Clearwater, and we were just like kind of down the road.
And so, what anything new or anything like you get to spring training, it's a new world, right? I mean, because you had gone from college to rookie ball, and then you went back to spring training, or you went to spring training for the first time. And I imagine that was pretty wild, right? I mean, it was for me anyway. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you don't know what to expect.
Right. I mean, there's Chipper Jones and there's Ryan Klesko and all these guys, and I played instructional ball with them, but it was still, then you got everybody there in spring training.
200 people,
whoa.
man.
Yeah.
There's
like how am I going to make this?
Yeah, I remember walking in, and because my first year I didn't get invited to camp. I was hoping I'd get invited as a catcher. Sometimes you just take catchers, like even if they're single A for like the first couple of weeks of big league camp.
Yeah.
Just to get so to have enough catchers.
Well, there's the good news is that the best two ways to make it in the big leagues is catching and left-handed pitching. So I mean, you got yourself in a position to keep going at it. And so I mean, I imagine that's what you did, right? You got the spring training, and you showed yourself. And where'd you go after your first spring training? Where'd you A ball?
Nope. I had to stay in extended spring training.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't a good feeling either. So
right.
How about this? You get drafted. I was 11th round. I mean, it's not this great, but I know I'm a senior, so I'm older.
Yeah.
It was the thing about pro ball. You learn pretty quick. And you probably did too. Like, you're a number with everybody else, and then besides your number, there's a number value on you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how much is invested in you, and it's just the business of the game.
Yep.
And I remember when I got the double A. I mean, I know I'm kind of jumping around here.
No, that's all right.
I know that I had one coach who was dead honest about it too, and I know through all the years, I didn't like to complain, man. I wasn't that. I didn't like to cry and complain about my playing time or not. I mean, I think you have to earn. You got to earn it, and I was one of those. But at a time, like, dang, man, I think there's a time that you need to speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
As a player, or more just to figure out, like, hey, where's this going? And I know that I was at that point. I know I'm jumping around all this, but there was the point about number and then the money value behind you, and you know yourself. And we had a catcher that we had drafted in the first round.
Okay.
And we were the same age, same year.
Mm-hmm.
So, they gave this kid $1 million to, he's a big hitter, but he was not kind of pounding out. He's a good teammate of mine. I really want to bring his name up because it's kind of but I was better than him.
Yeah.
At some point in time, and I think it was starting to be pretty clear that I was better than him.
And you were in Double A at the time?
We were Double A. We spent 2 years together in Double A.
Where was Double A?
Just as in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
So I was, when I first got there, I was, like I said, I jumped past the part of the draft. But I remember the second year there, I was trying to play. We're splitting time. The one kid was left-handed, so I was right-handed. So it was good. Anytime he wasn't very good, so anytime a lefty, I was getting in there no matter what.
Right.
But I was starting to, I was coming to my own, man. Like I felt like, I felt like I was better than him. Period. I don't know how else to put it. I remember going up to the coach one day because, if I played well, it didn't matter. I was going to sit a certain amount of days.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
If they had-
frustrating. But, at the end of the day, I always want to just earn my time. So I
Right.
know you're talking about from 5 years old to now I'm 53 years old. Do I really know what drove me to want to play baseball for long? I think it was just that. I always wanted to play.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
I just always wanted to,
you had a sense of
I just wanted to
integrity.
always earn it. I didn't want to. I didn't. If I wasn't good enough, then just somebody. So I told Rammer his name. I give his nickname. And I go, hey man, see, I've been in an organization now, 3 years or so, or 3 or 4. I mean, like, I never complain, never say anything, but coach, I'm pretty good. I'm playing pretty good. We've been together. This is me and the other catcher been together. I feel like better. When am I going to get my, when am I going to get my opportunity? Right? Something like that. He goes, Mike, he told me honest. He goes, as long as that catcher is in this organization, he will always get his bats. I have to give him a certain amount of bats until he either fulfills whatever investment they put out of him, or they have to eventually just cut bait, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it was honest.
That's the business of baseball that people may not understand. Maybe you do. Maybe you've been around it long enough. But if you don't know, it's just like any other business. You're gonna pay more attention, and you're gonna get more use, or try to get as much use out of your investments as possible, right? And financial investments. So if they put $1 million into that guy, he's gonna get a shot until he can't do it, right? And so that's
exactly right.
That happens. I mean, I was a load round, $1,000 guy signing bonus. I was first one off the roster, man. If something went down, because Chipper Jones was the guy who got drafted first in that year, and he was the first one to sign $1 million signing bonus. So that's the part of the business that people don't understand. Maybe they do, but that's what you were up against. And so you're in Double-A, and this is going on, and then where did you go? You went Double-A. Did he
me up?
Go ahead.
I mean, his statement, like, I think that coach's honesty from that point on freed me. I think it just kind of freed me.
Probably gave you some relief. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because listen, man, it sucks because I knew that I was doing the right thing, because I always remember what my dad said. Hey, man, it's going to be that one opportunity, right? You might get that one opportunity. When that opportunity comes, how are you going to be prepared for it? So even in the minor leagues, it was. I mean, I'm vested. I mean, I'm in it. I knew that I had to grind. I knew I had to do something. I had to outshow everyone else in a sense, perform. Like, I mean, you have to be even that much better in tune with your game, because that. But
and you have to be up here. You have to be.
Plus, that at the end of the day, it's a business.
You are going to get a shot, and if you get a shot and you're moaning, or you're groaning, or you're down and you're depressed, then you're not going to do well.
You just justify why you didn't play in the first place, right? I think it's kind of what you're helping them justify why they didn't play in the first place, and that's what because even if you don't perform well, you could see, if a guy's ready and playing. You know what I mean? I might go out there and I might not get any hits, but I'm as ready as I can. But yes, you have to. Unfortunately, you have to try to perform with that. So, sing away. Go back. I remember going to spring training, my first spring training, '92. Excited, right? Yeah. Rookie ball was a wash. The first year. I think that's just part of it. But now you're going to see. I remember walking in. There's 200 kids, man. There's 18. We're a bunch of talking about a number.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have I don't know how you guys did it. Like in the minor leagues, we didn't have fresh laundry every day.
No.
We had to pay like $1. We had to share a laundry bag, and I think our uniforms got washed every other day or every 3 days. There was like a rotation. So like most guys didn't want to slide on the first day because you'd have to wear the suit. You'd have to wash your own personal. It was, it was an experience, man. And I know I learned pretty quick, because now we're going to do an individual work. 30 catchers or whatever, 20. I don't know how many teams, 8 teams.
Yeah.
6. Yeah, there was probably at least 20 of us at different levels. Like you're.
Who was your biggest influence in the Cardinals organization coming up as a catcher, like coach wise?
Dave Ricketts.
Dave Ricketts?
Dave Ricketts, Mr. Ricketts.
And he was
He was
roving
a pitching.
catching instructor.
Yeah, he was. He was kind of lived in everything. But when I got drafted, he was the Cardinals roving catching instructor. That him, yeah, I think he was. He was until he died, pretty much. I mean, he was the guru, man.
He was a lifer, huh?
Yeah, he got me to. I try to you just got to keep getting better in your craft. I wouldn't just look at catchers to figure out where I can maybe get an advantage or how, think about me in a squat position. The ball's coming. I got to go from a squat position and throw a ball, 120 feet on a line to try to get somebody out. How can I do that efficiently with the most force, in the quickest time? I looked at leverage, all kinds of things, right? So like with that, like I'm going to have to turn my feet. I can sit there and you can go look at 15 catchers a day and they'll sit there and they'll just spin, they'll get 10 kids out there and they'll just spin and they think that that's a throwing position. It's not. Now what? I get spin, turn sideways. So now I'm pointing towards second, but what kind of leverage do I have? Where's my weight? I started looking at pitchers, right? What do you got? You guys are doing it from a windup. Mm-hmm. So I start breaking it down. When you guys get to that point when your legs fully cocked, you get that load. So I was trying to, how can I maybe get that? Like as a hitter, you can almost like lean.
Yeah.
I try to take different parts of it, but Dave Ricketts took me to the next level of receiving. Now, unfortunately, in today's game, it's not receiving anymore.
Right.
We're in college, we had to frame everything.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of catching, you're meaning the ball. You're not really catching and pulling it up like, like 5-year. Yeah. I don't want to be those old, one of those old school guys, or be an old player that kind of plays. But to me, if anything in game, receiving a baseball, like watching a baseball game and seeing all that, seeing catchers dropping their mitts and then catching a ball on the ground and lifting it up, and then the umpire is calling a ball. I mean, if I was an umpire, I'd be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an umpire tell me in my rookie year, I tried to pull one little pitch, and this is no joke. I try to pull the slider, just like a little, like I thought I got pretty good. He's leaning over and goes, son, if you try to pull another pitch on me again, I'll throw you out of this game.
Nice.
I see the pitch is better than you. You catch it. Like that's so back then. That's how we were talking.
Right away, right?
You're a pitcher. You didn't want the glove really moving. I know you guys are looking at a bunch of different spots.
Yeah.
But Dave elevated the mental part of the game for me. He taught me how to, Mr. Ricketts, I can't believe I'm calling him Dave now. He elevated the mental part of game of catching. That's when I really, I think it's really started kind of elevating. Like I think you got to start separating yourself. For me, I had to try to separate myself between 20 guys. So physically, I try to do it. This guy, he didn't have a set time. He goes, hey, because you guys want to work, I'll be in the cage. It's 6 a.m. every day, right? Our things didn't start till 7:30 or 8. And he was there every day. And he didn't say, hey, you're the number one pick. You need to come meet me every morning. Or he didn't see any value. He saw the same money sign on all 20 catchers. The guy like that, he was a big influence because he was honest. Like he didn't, like he said, he the game, right? What's invested, but he didn't see you were all the same. We're all like his little children. Right. It was up to us if we want to work. He didn't care. He would have sat in that cage at 6. When he get there at 6 o'clock, he was in the field. He would run out like drinking vodka. So we'd put that the wrestling jacket on, the sweat ones, like the Vision Quest jackets.
Yeah.
We'd ride the air bike 5:30 in the morning every day. Man. Wow. He was a horse. So he was there. Like if nobody showed up, it wasn't on him.
Yeah. He was waiting.
His job was to be accessible. My job is to be here for you.
Yeah.
You want to work.
Show up.
I work as much as you want to work. And that guy, that was it. Just as far as a perfect fit for me, That was it. Because if people, people, there's a fine line between work and brown nose, right? There's a fine line between working hard or a little eyewash, right? And sometimes in these pro sports, the people that think that that's, if they bring that up, are they workers? Or are those the guys that wish they were working like you? I didn't care. I used to have guys saying like, hey man, I worked. I was in there every day at the end, fine. In between innings, I was blocking balls. People are thinking that's brown. No, that's my job. Why? If I got 5 dirt balls in between innings or whatever in a live game, what's the best way of practicing? Have a 60-year-old coach one-hopping me a ball so I could block it in the dirt, or a guy throwing one live or in the bullpen, right? To me, it wasn't brown nosing. I thought it was pretty smart.
Well, you're preparing for
I can't create live practice, but I can. That's as live as it's going to be, right? Bullpens are in a game. I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No. So well, look, I mean, it's not. Part of this is, talking about the mental game, and that this guy kind of came to you like Yoda, and kind of gave you the perspective that you needed.
Yeah. Gave you what to think about.
Right.
The weird thing is, and he gives you. I mean, he is Yoda, because he made you your own coach without even knowing. And then as I started now, once I built a relationship with him over years, we would talk. And he goes, you're going to depend on me? I come see you 4 times, 8 times a month or 8 times a season. He's a rover, right? So,
right.
He used to tell us, he goes, if you're just waiting for me all the time, I'm giving it to you to learn. You got to be your own coach.
Yeah.
So then when you come in,
that's cool.
Then I can, I can kind of fine tune you.
Yeah.
But he could see things that you're doing that you can't. You can't feel. You can feel something's wrong, but you don't know what it is. You get frustrated. I guess my example is I've always, blocking's it's kind of a personality trait. You gotta want it. You gotta want to do it. You gotta want to be. I didn't like to be embarrassed. Right? I didn't like when people noticed me. So as a catcher, when are they going to notice you? Whenever you do something.
Whenever the ball's in the dirt, it gets back.
Yeah, ball's in the dirt, you miss a ball. So that was, I think, even more prevalent. But there's techniques in it, and I was struggling. Like, you always kind of have a strong side or a weak side in a sense. I think I was pretty balanced. But yeah, I would say blocking, it would be weird. Like going to my left it seemed freer than going to my right. Maybe I get a little further out left-wise or right. But for some reason, I was really a stickler on technique. Just had to be. You have to be with my maybe talent, or especially as you're older too. I was, you were a senior, I was a senior.
Yeah.
We're getting drafted. I just turned 23, I think, or 22.
Yeah.
I think it was a rookie.
Probably 22, 23.
Yeah, I was a 27-year-old rookie.
Yeah. So you went. So you went from Double-A, and then you got called up in '96, right? With the September call up. Was that your first?
That was it, man. It was the first opportunity I got to play. So single A was just kind of a blur. The backtrack, got drafted that first year. Went to '92. I didn't break for a team. Like, I didn't know what that meant. Like, I thought I was fired already.
Yeah.
Like, rosters, I'm like, oh shit.
And for those,
like, man, I didn't even.
I'll explain it too for people who don't understand. Like, so you go, when you go to spring training, At the end of spring training, you're usually assigned to a team, and then you go off and you play that year for whatever team that is, whether it's A-ball, Double-A, whatever. But a lot of times they'll keep people back into what's called extended spring training, and so you don't get assigned to a team. and they keep you there. And so you don't know whether that's good or bad, because especially when you first, are playing, you don't understand why they're doing that. But what it basically means is they want to either work with you a little bit further because they really like you a lot, but they don't know that you're ready for the experiences you're getting ready to go for, or they're about to try to evaluate whether you're going to be around or not after that. So that's that. For people who don't know what extended spring training is, that's what that is.
Yeah.
And so, you were there, and then you went from extended spring training to where? Double A?
So I went to I went to
92. Okay.
Yeah, I had to go. Yeah, I thought we all thought it was over.
Right.
Because it's usually when you're seniors. So we're 22 years old, or 23 at the time, and most kids, like you had said, they're guys that need some work. But most of the guys that stay back in extended spring are high schoolers.
Right.
That are they're going to play in the summer league. They're going to wait out. They're still developing until the short season happens. They're kind of like, if you're a senior or like college player in extended spring.
Yeah.
At
you're 5 years older than everybody.
Your time is either you're hoping that you're going to, at the time we didn't know, but like guys were just going down left and right because they can't play it. So
yeah,
it was probably actually the funnest time, one of the funnest times I've had.
That extended spring training.
Because we were stuck.
Yeah.
There was six of us, six college guys. There was probably a couple more, but all of us. So we found a house. You can't rent like by yourself. We found like a house. All six of us lived in it. And we basically would have, you practice from 7 a.m. to pretty much 1. You play like little extended spring trainings at 10. You do all your work, and then you're kind of done, man.
Yeah.
So we were on a mission. We busted our ass, and then we had a redneck from Oklahoma or something, and he had a cooler beer in the back of his pickup. So we lived like around Madeira Beach area, like one of those little houses back there. So it was like public volleyball. So I'm telling you, every day for a month?
Nice.
Whatever extent it was, a month, 45 days until, some guys would start getting picked off. I didn't.
Yeah.
No freaking time. We would I worked my butt off, dude. And then we'd play beach volleyball for a couple hours, drink beer. We'd make ramen noodles or whatever. And we just do the same thing. Like we were all just like, we're not going down like this. Like we're here, we're going to bust our butt. And then, we're just going to enjoy ourselves the rest of the day. And I went back to Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay. So you went back up to rookie ball.
Went back up to rookie ball.
And that ended, and you went to instructional league?
Yeah, I left there quick, right? So that was a weird thing, right? So the 91, first spring training, I'm in extended spring training. I'm not sure if I'm even going to make a team. I didn't. I have to wake it out. I go back to Hamilton, Ontario. I was there probably. Now I was playing, so that was good. It was Jeff Murphy was there too, but I was gone. I think I was gone within a couple of weeks. Like I was hitting pretty good, but they needed someone with I think Springfield.
Okay, so that was your ankle.
So I kind of jumped around to single A. It was weird because I got hurt 93 Stein. That's when I had that blood clot on my shoulder, and I was in St. Pete. I was in single A, the high A ball, whatever they call it here. There was a pretty good chance for me to get some consistent playing time. I wasn't going to play every day, but I was going to get some playing time. And that's when I had that blood clot. So they shut me down. I had to get my rib taken out in the fall of 93. That was the fall of 93 to 94 was probably, as far as health and fitness, that was probably the turning point for me, health and fitness wise.
Okay. What happened?
Mental part of the game I knew, but I think I don't think I don't think I really knew that much. Like, I tried to eat better, but I was still a 23-year-old kid. I remember
back then
rehab for what I was doing.
Yeah.
They take your rib out. There's really no rehab. So, I was still Tennessee. I was finishing my last semester. So I was able to go to train room. Remember the old Cybex machine? They used to have? So I just treated my arm like it was a rotator cuff, or at least the trainers were like, well, let's just treat it like a rotator cuff. We don't know what else to do because it's just the first rip. It was just more muscle atrophy, I guess.
Yeah. Plus back then, dude, we didn't have a nutritionist. We didn't know anything about how to eat. We didn't know anything.
None.
Nothing, man.
Nothing. So old football player. Remember there was a ball gym. It was called the ball gym. I think it was on the strip for a little bit. Right? It was just called the ball gym.
Right.
So I would go in there and I don't know, it was like $10 a month or whatever. So I would go there and work out, try to train them. So old football player, man, I can't remember his name. He played for Tennessee, but I don't even know if it was around our time. But I remember talking to him in there one time because I was doing something. We started talking about nutrition because I didn't know much about it either. He was like, I go, listen, I was kind of getting my story. I go, man, so what's 1993? How old am I now? 24?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I was 24, right? Gonna be
93, 69, 24.
Right. I go, 24-year-old kid. I just had surgery. I missed half the season. I go, I knew right then. I go, this was my one shot. Like if I knew that I had to be in the best shape of my life to go to spring training, to even just to try to make a team. This is what I think about it, man. All right. If you're an organization and you're a 23-year-old kid going to be turning 24, hasn't really played that much, and he's got a bad arm, like he's not probably on anybody's roster, But I met this guy, and he's told me the nutrition was, I was basically eating dry chicken, rice. I was not allowed to eat. I could eat a bagel, tuna fish. So my whatever Atkins diet or whatever it is now, back then, told me he's like I basically had a can of tuna, with a dry bagel, but he was telling me to eat 5 times a day. This was the first time I understood, kind of building your metabolism, more you eat, but and trying to be lean with it. I didn't know much about that. Even did they really tell us when we were in college? They just fed us well, right? Like we could eat whatever the hell we wanted.
Yeah, you ate what you ate. So you're eating well, you're working out. You've already played rookie ball, you played A ball, you had this blood clot. Oh no, my career's over with. So you go back to spring training that next year. Is that when the next time you went
next
back?
spring? Yeah. So this fall, the whole from '93. So that would have been in the summer, right? So fall, September '93. I get the surgery. Mm-hmm. So I got 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months
training.
Yeah.
I knew then, out of any year, this was it. Like, there was I had to do.
This is my make or break season.
Yeah, it had to be because number one, I just got hurt.
Yeah,
right? So it's not like I don't have a whole lot of history right now.
Yeah,
I think they know I could catch.
Right.
But I don't know. I went in there and I went to spring training. I mean, I was in great shape. We were always in good shape, but now I was leaner. Like I understood. As far as diet wise, body fat, I never knew. And I really did. I felt like a lot. I actually felt like I could run, and that's not possible. But that was a big breaker year, man. And I went there and I just busted it every day. And I don't know I do know now because he told me in a shower one time, my manager, Chris Maloney, he gave me an opportunity.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody was going to take me. Because I take the kid double A, he'll do fine. Because they had the prospect, the number 1 pick was going to double A.
Right.
So at the end of the year, he ended up taking me. Like I went from being hurt to double A, and he was, I don't know if he was a big part of it, and he reminded me one time during the season, and he had every right to remind me because I could be a little red ass at times.
Yeah.
And he reminded me he's the manager. He reminded me that the reason why I got opportunities is because he got me here.
Yeah.
I'll get this kid will be fine. And Chris Maloney, was big.
So he was a gatekeeper. Yeah. He
was like, you gotta, it's timing, man. Everyone has to have timing. I think for my career, things got to kind of fall into place. And when they fell into place, if that opportunity opened up, you got to take advantage of it. You just got to.
Yeah.
You've been through it, Snide. I mean, and even today's game, it still probably doesn't change that much. I mean, everyone's going to markets. They're all going, and it's probably not any more glamorous than it was back then. I mean, there's probably nicer fields just because,
people, there's more money. It's all the same stuff, man. I mean, you have to go out there and compete, and like we talked about before, if there's a lot of money on your forehead when you got drafted, you're going to get more opportunity. If there's not, you've got to work your ass off. because you're going to get that opportunity at some point. So are you ready for it? And so you got back to AA, and you were in, this is 94. And then obviously things started really working for you, right? I mean, did you go from AA to AAA to big leagues, or what? How did that, let's move forward.
I went 90, 94, could be 94. Yeah, that would have been the first year. The first year I got consistent playing time. I was there a whole year. I got consistent playing. I can't remember how many bats, but I think it was me and Paul Ellis. It was a really fun year, man. You know, AA was, it's like when you kind of get the AA, I know they're moving them now, but AA, it's like no one's really moving. You know,
Right.
there wasn't, back then, it wasn't really a lot of, you know, no one's really going to the big leagues. There wasn't a lot of movement up to AAA.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like your team. You know, even in, you know, the Cardinals had 3 different single A teams, and most teams did. You know, we had Springfield.
Yeah. You had low A, mid A, and high A. Yeah.
We at one point we had 5, right? We had Johnson City, New York Penn League, and then the long Savannah was a long season A ball.
Okay.
St. Pete was a long season A ball, and Springfield was a long season A ball. You know, the only team I didn't ever play for was Savannah. But so AA, it just seemed like you were kind of there. We were there for the whole. Like most of the group was kind of there as far as camaraderie. That was the best. But I really learned. We played at Ray Winder Field, so it was like a 100-year-old stadium. You know, the home plate was sitting up that much.
Oof.
So that place made me really good blocker.
I bet.
Like
I bet, dude.
It's rough. The first couple of games, you know, would hit that lip every once in a while. But that's probably where I think that year, I finally. I think they weren't ready to give up. You know, like I think I knew I could catch or something, but I think what was getting me, and I don't know, this is more speculation, but I think it age and time. You know, like yeah, he's a good catch now, but now he's 24. Like, you know,
Right.
He's a little bit better than the 21-year-old, but I think by 94, I think I had separated myself, and based on just talking to coaches in the past, I think they knew, like, if they had coaching, like catching, you know, had to go through all the catchers. I think at that point they knew I would catch.
Mm-hmm.
That I was, you know, they weren't sure how that was going to, you know, they didn't know if they want to give me an opportunity. At least that's what kind of Hammer was saying. So 93, then I went back 95, same 2 guys, me and Ellis.
And you were in AA again, 95?
Yeah. But I was pretty much half and half. Like we were kind of splitting time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like I think I was getting some right-handers. That's when I had the conversation with the coach, you know, like the first time I'd asked, like, hey man, like, I'm like, when am I getting an opportunity? He was honest about the whole thing. That year, the end of that year, I think the end of that year really pushed, like really either forced St. Louis to notice me or not, whether age or anything, because Ellie got called up to AAA, and I don't know, he didn't do all that. So he got sent back down. At the end of the year, they needed a catcher, right? They were going to be in the playoffs. So I think it was the middle of August. So I got called up to AAA in the middle of August. I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. But I played good. You know, we ended up going to playoffs. I know I could catch, man. You know, at that point in time, Snide, I mean, I'm 100% confident in my skill.
Right.
You know, probably that spring training of 94.
Okay.
We're going in, like, I know that I can catch, or I know that my skills.
You're meant to be there. You can.
Yeah, I belong. I belong as right. I get an opportunity. Like this is not an aberration. I could catch, and I'm starting to understand some things.
Yeah.
Like now, whether that ever gets to an opportunity, I don't know if this would make any sense. But I went to AAA that year, and Joe Bettini was a manager, and I think we had like a week before the playoffs, so we make the playoffs. And I kind of think I was kind of holding my own like the week, because there was another catcher there. Anyway, we go to playoffs, and in the championship game, I end up catching me and Alan Bennis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Beaner. So that was kind of cool. We ended up winning the AAA International League title.
Louisville?
We were in Louisville. We were playing Buffalo. Like Buffalo was like a Major League Baseball team back then, man.
Well, they had a great stadium.
They had Brian Giles. They had and I had a really good game. I had 2 for 5. I had a couple, I think doubles, some runs driven. I had like a big game. We won the thing, and I remember for the first time that, and I got to, so 95 was the first time I got exposed to Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan and that whole new staff. And I kind of fast forward. 94 was a big year, just health wise, to get in and play. And
Right.
then, I had a decent, I held my own. The guy took a chance on me. Chris Moses took a chance to get me on the roster in Double A, and I held my own. So the next year I got invited. It was the first time I got invited to spring training.
Nice.
And La Russa and them, I think they, they're students of the game, man. They're students of the game, Snide.
This is 96 now?
So this would know. I kind of backtracked. 95 was a big year, but that spring training in 95 was the first time I got to big league camp.
Okay, so before you went to Triple
got invited to big league camp, because the year before was strike year.
Okay, yeah.
I was a catcher, but this was legit. Like, I got offered. We went through a bunch of. Well, that year, they wanted me to be a replacement player. Was that 94 or 5?
That was 95, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I don't know, whichever one of those 2 years, but
yeah, it was midnight. Yeah.
My first spring training with the Cardinals, when La Russa and Dave Duncan were there, I think that helped elevate my stock. Like, I think I finally, and I'm not sure. I mean, I talked to Dunk in the past. I think to Duncan more than anyone else. I think he just, he was a catcher. He's a really good pitching coach, but he was a catcher before, the big
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't either at the time. But Dave was a catcher and a pitching coach. Some people might not like him. I mean, he might not have been as technical or anything, but this guy, as far as prepared, catchers and pitchers, I've never seen anything like it.
Right.
I think he understood that. We had meetings at the bullpen. We were having meetings after our bullpens, like in spring training. That was the first time that I ever had that. So, and I remember I was kind of nervous. Like, he's asking me to speak, like, "Hey, Rook, who'd you catch?" Right? And I had to speak up about, what I saw and all that. And I was just being me, man. I saw everything. I don't care if he was a veteran or not. You're asking me what I saw. I'm going to tell you.
Right.
And so I think he kind of saw that. They gave me a chance. I mean, I think I got on the radar with them too. Then, the AAA thing kind of helped.
Yeah, it sounds like. I mean, they just realized you're not just a pretty face, man. You know how to catch.
I know. Yeah.
You know how to break down pitchers and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move along here to 95. AAA gets done. You go back to spring training. Obviously, you're probably getting invited to big league camp again, right? This is 96.
96.
Yeah. So you break camp and you go to AAA.
Yeah. So 96. This is probably. I will admit, this was probably the first year that I shouldn't have. I should be like, I felt like I was going to get a chance to play. Like, I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, like, I was pretty much preparing to go start at AAA.
Okay.
Or at least play a lot. Like, I was going to get an opportunity. Hell, they didn't have anybody. I just went and I got called up to AAA, and had a really good series. Like, I mean, I don't know if I helped them win, but yeah. I mean, like, we won a championship together, in big games. So, like, why wouldn't they give me an opportunity to, I don't know who they were going to sign or anything. So I felt really confident. I wasn't doubting my career anymore. Now I was trying to figure out when the opportunity was coming. Like, if I was going to get it. And now it's still time, dude. Because now I'm 27 years old. 96, I'm 27 years old, still chasing a dream and stuff, and which I have no regret. I probably would have, but you get to a point where I knew that I didn't want to be in my mid 30s and not have a plan.
Right.
So hindsight, I think I was like, I was grinding to, like, listen, I'm either going to make it or somebody's going to tell me I'm not going to make it. Like, I want to know soon. I know I was, as far as my own internal clock, I think that was bothering me, but man. I mean, who am I kidding? I really play baseball too.
Yeah, until they tell you to stop.
So that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
But I felt really confident in 96 that I should go, that I was gonna be in AAA, that I felt like I should have a chance to start there, to be for the first time in my career, these are
Yeah.
that I would have that I might be the number one. None of that happened.
No.
Not at first. None of
Okay.
that happened at first. They signed a couple old vets, Scott
Okay.
Heeman,
Yeah.
Pagnozzi was still there. He ended up getting hurt, so he was like rehab. I remember I was going there and I was going to play, but I wasn't like they had Scott Heeman, and there was another like kind of veteran guy because I think they were worried about Pagnozzi being injury prone or something. But I remember being kind of, oh, that happened. Like, come on, man. Like I can.
Right.
But
Give me
that's
my
the
shot.
game, man. It's AAA, right? You're one step from the big leagues, If that guy goes down, were they, as much as I was confident in myself, were they ready to have me go up there and be there? No. But so, like I always did, man, I just kept my head down on grind road.
Tunnel vision, man. You stay tunnel vision.
And I was on a mission, dude. And Scott Hemo, the guy's a great dude. If he was probably, it was near the end of his career, he's probably one of the toughest athletes I ever seen. I think if he was a better frame of mind, it might have been tougher for me. I mean, if he had my frame of mind at the moment, the drive that I was trying to get to, because he was still talented, he'd already been there. He was a number one pick back in the I think late '80s or something like. So, it didn't happen. So I was just ready, man. I got my chance, and I finally got a chance to play every day in AAA, and I listened to the same song to the stadium every day. Because once you get hit, and I finally, when my little window opened and my opportunity came, because I was very confident that I could catch by that point. By that point, AAA, like I think they knew that I could catch, throw people out. I was definitely, that was kind of my strength. I was, I kind of controlled the game back when there was a running game. The game was a little bit, but we do all of it. So
in the '90s, it was much more of a running game. There's changed once it got to the 2000s, and now it's back to running because they made the bases bigger.
Yep.
So wow. So you got a chance. What song were you listening to?
Oh,
can you remember?
When I got the start date, it was Hootie and the Blowfish called Time.
Hey, guys, yeah, that's perfect.
Guys would stop riding to the park with me. Because I couldn't just play it once, but you had to play it the whole
over and over and over.
Minute drive, like. So I think Ron Warner, like he goes, I can't ride with you today because I can't listen to that song again. I was like, I don't know if we had what did we have back? Maybe Walkmans or something.
Yeah, Walkmans. Yeah, at that point, yeah.
Like they'd either have it in there. I don't care, but I rate, dude. I rate for. I was hitting 300. I was playing well. I was like, I wasn't going to mess it up. I was getting engaged that summer too. So everything was going pretty good. I wasn't sure, man. You still don't know. And then George Kissel, the big George Kissel. He's like for Cardinals. He's, everybody has that their godfather of baseball. George Kissel was kind of that. He was the, he's as smart as any big league manager. He was as smart as any person. He just chose to be. He's a developer.
Right, development guy.
Yeah, 50 years, man. I mean, he's. I think he did some time in a big league. Like I think he was a coach one year, but Kissel didn't talk to me that much. He didn't. You don't really talk to him that much. Like when you get to him, usually you either relate or something. Or you're getting released, or I don't know. So he kind of made a weird appearance in middle of August in Louisville, kind of for no reason, and he's the one that kind of broke it to me. Because, DeFelice, we sent a dugout one time just by ourselves. I can't cuss because he cussed a lot. DeFelice, you're not a bad catcher. Really not that bad. Yeah, you actually, I didn't really think you could swing the bat that well either. But, you kind of hold your own. It was just kind of like mumble, like, over the years, you kind of know those people out pretty good. And this kind of like this conversation just kind of ended like that. And I was thinking, shit, like I might have a chance to, because they were in a playoff run.
Right.
Yeah, they were in a play. I mean, in '96, they're, Cardinals are playoff run. So they're going to have, they're going to call, they got to call a catcher up. I mean, somebody's going up.
You're gonna need a
Right?
third catcher up there,
Yeah, they
right?
got to have at least somebody,
Yeah,
And I know that they didn't go out and get one.
yeah,
That's why I think that Duncan and them really like me. Like they, sometimes I was that guy. Like the Cubs traded for me in 2004 for a month. I didn't do anything but sit there.
yeah.
I was insurance for Michael Barrett and I think it was Rocco.
Got
Instead of I don't know if they might not have had a young kid that they felt comfortable with. So, but I think what George said it because he was kind of like talking like you're pretty. I was like, no, really, and I think it hit me. I probably messed myself up. It hit me that I go, oh my god. I go, I think I might get a shot. He called up, and I did couldn't come fast enough. I was tanking. I went like on an over 20 slump and stuff. Mental midget, man. I mean, it's a big moment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
So what happened? So where were you? What was going on? They called you. Did you called you in the office? They called you in your hotel room. What was
We
the
were in
moment?
we were in Indianapolis. We were in Indianapolis playing Chiefs. Indianapolis, Indiana. I think we were staying at Ramada Inn, and me and Ron Warner. I think he was my roommate, or Sean Lowe, one of those two. Came back from Dimitri Young's room playing
Yep.
dominoes, and I think it was I don't know, it was like one something. It seemed like 1:30 in the morning roughly, and we didn't have. Did I have a cell phone back then? I don't know if we had cell phones.
Maybe
96.
they first came out then. It was like
I
this
don't know if
big
I know that my hotel room,
flip phone. Yeah.
the hotel room,
Okay.
called and it was Mike Jorgensen. No, it
Wow.
wasn't Mike Jorgensen. It was Larry Walker, Jerry Walker. And he said, Mike, he goes, I'm going to be there. We're going to get you on a plane tomorrow. We're going to fly. I think they were in Houston.
Wow.
We're going to fly you. Congratulations, you can come up to Big Leagues tomorrow.
Wow.
Shocked. It was
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. We took a puddle jumper there. I just remember having my head like on my legs. Like we had some turbulence and stuff. Me and Jerry Walker. I think I played. I'll get my rookie year mixed up. Is that 97?
96 is when you got called up in
96.
September, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
96. So it was Jerry Walker, all that, but we didn't go to Houston was when I got called up like in 97. I had to go down for a month or a week and then come back up. 96, I just went to St. Louis.
right. So they
And
called
Jerry
you up
Walker.
in
September, and I kind of sat there until
You got a little bit of playing
clinched.
time in, yeah.
They clinched. Whenever they clinched, my first inning in the big leagues was I don't know. I caught one inning, and it was somewhere in the middle of the month. And
Who'd you catch?
Honeycutt,
Who was the first pitcher you caught?
Rick Honeycutt,
Rick Honeycutt, a UT
University
guy,
of Tennessee. I caught his first
Tennessee
pitch.
guy.
I caught his first pitch like our junior or senior year. He came out the balls, and he threw out the first pitch. My parents have a
Wow.
picture shaking hands at Tennessee, and then now he's I'm playing with him. He was my first.
What a circle, man.
inning.
What a circle that was, right? Holy shit.
Inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, 96. So I hung out there, and then they finally clinched near the end of the month, and I made my first game was in Pittsburgh. I don't know what day it is, something 96. It had to be like the 26th, I think September 26th or something. It was near the end of the month. I know they had. I think we had about four days left before they did a season. So we clinched. I remember me, Dimitri Young. Maybe somebody else. We were sitting there. They had a team party, right? Because we just clinched. They rented out like a restaurant bar,
Right.
near the hotel, right? So we had just got there, like little September call-us. So we just
Yeah.
sitting on the bar like this, and I think we had just ordered a beer,
Uh-huh.
and some food or something. We're just sitting there, kind of, getting ready to feel comfortable because it's hard. We, it's like everybody's celebrating. We weren't really there that much, and also we're just like, hey, we're gonna be, we're saying what we're doing. So we're all excited. We start like we're gonna chug our beer, and I get a tap on my shoulder. Like I think we're gonna try to shotgun our first beer. With a tap on my shoulder, put the beer down, and turn around. It was Dave Duncan. He was, hey, you're gonna catch tomorrow. I said, okay, coach. And as soon as he
Nice.
walked in, I said, check.
Yeah, I'm
I
out.
didn't pay for anything, but I was like, all right, man, guys, I'm out. We'll see you again. I asked, I drank my beer. I went home. So did Dimitri. And we had my first game, man. So it was the last day that Jim Lehman was a manager of
Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So who did you face?
I faced John Lieber.
John Lieber. Wow.
John Lieber.
There's some old school 90 names right there, man.
Yeah, John Lieber. My first, did they get out? I know I was 2 for 4. I was 2 for 4 with an RBI double.
Nice.
But I think I got out first. I'm not sure if the double came first, but I remember this. I think it might have been my second at bat. I had an RBI double at the right center at Three Rivers, and I'm telling you, man, I don't even.
You don't remember it, do you?
Ground.
Yeah.
I don't remember any. I
Yeah.
don't remember. It's the craziest thing of all the stuff we've done, man. Like you don't even feel like your whole body's air.
Yeah.
You're just standing. The coolest thing though, because these guys are all hung over. We had a very
Right.
veteran team. Even my rookie year at Cardinals, but they were. I looked in it. I mean, once I realized, I looked at a dugout, and these guys were firing up, man. It was like it was cool. And
Did you get the ball?
yeah, they got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
CJ Cherry, he wrote it up.
That's
CJ
awesome.
Cherry and Buddy Bates.
Nice.
They wrote up on the first home run, like real nice. They called it in. Like I don't know if it was Stoudemire or somebody. But yeah.
Who was the first home run off of?
First home run, Mike Mims. Hey, lefty.
From what? Who were you playing?
I was with the Cardinals.
Is that 97 or not? Did you?
Yeah, 97.
Yeah.
Day game. I don't know the exact day, but I know it was a day game at St. Louis, and it was a curveball. Mike Mims threw me a
Just kind of hung up there and you
hung it.
wrapped
And,
it.
yeah, I remember going in the dugout. And remember Donovan Osborne was the first one, like at the dugout, all excited and stuff.
That's cool, man.
So you got that. I'm in the books now. They can't take me out.
That's right, brother. I'm just going to go through. I'm going to go through. So D played for 13 years, man, and this is a testament to stick-to-itiveness. This is a testament to, wanting it and the opportunity being there, and then just the fact that you were just good at what you did, right? I mean, you played with the Cardinals. You played 2 years with the Cardinals, and then the Tampa Bay. You played 3 years. In the middle of that 4th year, you got traded to the Diamondbacks. Then you went back to the Cardinals. Then you went to the Royals. Then the Tigers, and then you went to the Cubs at the end of that year, and then 3 years with the Mets, and then back to the Rays.
Yeah, the Rays was more. I think the Rays was more kind of like it kind of knew. I think it was going to be it.
What was your?
There has changed a little bit. In the past, you have to justify. You have to beat out a veteran in a sense, and I mean that with a lot of respect. When I was coming in, I had to justify who was like. I think Rich Gedman was in one of the camps or something like. I had to justify to the managers like, why am I keeping you over this veteran? Yeah, he's you're talking about role players, right? Like, because at the end of the day, the managers they would usually lean with the veteran, whether they were having a good spring training or not, right? Just because at the end of the day, they have experience. Once the lights turn on, you can put that guy in. You know what you're going to get. As a rookie, you got to try to. You don't know. Like I might crack.
They need people to trust,
right? Trust. So it used to be that you had to kind of push to get these. Like you're talking about your role players on the team. And at the end, 2008 was probably the first. It was happening a little bit before that. I saw it some, and I don't know why or how it changed, but like I with Tampa Bay, there was a little different theory. They were afraid to lose their prospects,
right?
Which that's, I can't say as a player I didn't like this. I didn't like it because I know that now I'm on both ends of it. I was at the beginning of it where I'm trying to beat out the veterans. Now I'm a veteran. Now no one's trying to beat I know it's trying to beat me out. Like it was, it was like one way I looked at it is like we're afraid we're going to keep the young kid because we're afraid we're going to lose them. That's what they're afraid they're going to. If we send them back to the minor leagues, they're going to lose them mentally. It's like we never had that back then. Like to me, that's all the other things is a way of weeding out players.
Well, you came full
I mean,
circle.
many times you get curfewed, back in the day where, like sometimes when you have a large numbers, you got to let the 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 player dictate it too. So, on and off the field.
So I went back and looked at the numbers. 99 was your best statistical year, right?
Offensively, probably, maybe
That
all
was with
around.
the Rays, right? With the
Yeah,
Rays.
maybe all around.
Was that your favorite year?
It
Or
was one of them.
year? Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. In the big leagues, in the major leagues, um, they're all good, but I would say, especially Tampa Bay was tough, man, because we're a new organization, so
Right. Right.
we're gonna get our butt kicked. But how we did it, 99 was one of the funnest years for me in the big league. That big league team, they were fun, man. We worked hard, we played hard.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't win a lot of games, but we played. We
Try
played
to prove yourself,
baseball.
right?
We
Yeah.
played the way it was played. We had the Bobby Witts, we had the Paul Serranos, we had Roberto Hernandez. We had veterans. We had a good group of people that we had. Norm Charlton came over there that year. We had guys that Greg Bond that you can you could throw attitude out as a veteran baseball player. But no, they were grinders. They taught everybody how to play. We played. That was as fun a year and as hard of a year. I mean, like as hard as a team played. I think of all the years I played, because we were doing it it was baseball. It was being done the right way. We just weren't winning games. And then 2002 was a good one.
Who was the guy that just blew you away pitching wise that you caught of all the years? Who's the guy that stands out the most? Was there one?
Yeah, there was one. I mean, not many people know his name. I'll give you two, just because some people might not know him. But the one out of all the pitchers of all the years that I played and called, and not everybody was easy, not everybody was hard, but probably the guy that I've actually caught some pitches and wasn't really sure how I did was like, I mean,
Right.
I've never seen this kind of movement from a guy. His name was Rolando Arrojo. He was he was with the Rays.
Okay.
He was defected. He defected from Cuba, and he made our All-Star team. But he was their first year. I mean, they had him listed at 35.
Right.
I mean, he was all at 45. I'm like, kid. I mean, the guy just came over, but I'm telling you, man, this guy.
His ball just.
He had so many arm angles.
Really?
That sometimes we'd have to. I try to do like a sign with him. Like when he threw the one pitch, I literally had no idea how I caught it. Like I'm looking, and I know because he, sometimes he had like different arm angles where the ball would sink or something, but sometimes he'll go straight over the top. Like he was like a Nintendo,
Right.
Arm slots and throwing. I mean, mid-90s.
Wow.
So he threw a ball, and I'm telling you, it was coming, and it just, like most sinkers kind of sink. Because he could throw it like almost under. His arm angle, and I used to look at the ball to see if there's no way this is real. Like,
right.
Somewhere
yeah, he's got some kind of
sticky. Man, the ball just kind of dropped. I remember going, and like I opened my eyes up and just like, he was probably the nastiest person of that no one would know. He just didn't play long enough.
Right.
But with the Rays, I mean, he threw some crazy arm angles. Him and El Duque. El Duque was one like that. But I think in their prime, because Pedro, I called him at the Mets. He's still really good to catch, but he wasn't in his prime. I called Schilling one weekend with the Arizona. I called Randy Johnson and Schilling.
Wow.
Schilling, I think of. It was probably the nastiest, probably the best pitching performance I've ever seen. Like I think you asked who I thought was the best that I caught.
Just the most amazing to you, like kind of like.
Yeah, I think him.
His ball was just heavy and kind of dropped and.
Yeah, Rolando was the most amazing thing. Like he was, but no one really knows. Schilling, I think Schilling would be because he was still a guy that threw his fastball more than anyone. Like the
Right.
game I caught, or I've watched him throw a couple of games. Best game I saw was Pedro, but catching wise, he threw his fastball. They were basically 4 pitches. He still used the box of the plate, high fastballs, low fastballs. Like he still, kind of how we're taught. You kind of use your fastball. Don't show him the stuff until you need to. Until you have to get him out. So what he could do with the velocity and accuracy and just moving on baseball, I thought he's probably up there.
Wow. And then Randy Johnson just repeated, right? I mean, he just Randy Johnson throwing just.
Yeah, it was hard. He was probably the hardest. I mean, Randy was really hard to catch, but it was just one pitch, really.
Right.
And my story is that, so I'm catching him in a dugout, or like in a clubhouse, or if you see him, you thought this guy was like just, he's very calm, very soft-spoken, very quiet dude, right?
Right.
You wouldn't think that he has any of me in me. You've seen me people. He's what he's.
Yeah.
I throw my little tantrums over. So I go and catch it because I always, even if I always wanted to catch the starter.
Yeah.
I always I wanted to start a pin. I didn't care. I get a lot of information from the bullpen. How our game's going to be. I could never be a starter and just go. That was just me. I wanted to see. I want to see when he was throwing the bullpen. Like, what do you got preparing for the game?
That's so cool.
So intense. I missed the ball. His slider was it just keeps going, right?
Wow.
I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good with my hands, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of remember I'm sitting outside and he throws that thing and just kept going. It tipped off my glove, like in the bullpen. He's like, hey! He screams.
He's
screaming out. I'm like, wow. And it's good because I'm hard on myself. Me,
right.
I hated draw. I didn't like to.
Yeah.
So we go out and we get all our stuff squared. His fastball's 100. I mean, it looks like he's throwing 5 feet from me, man. He's so big.
Right.
But that slider, because he wants you to set up kind of on the inside corner, like between the first, the hitter and the, almost not even on the strike zone, kind of wants you to sit there like so I'm straddling it. And I have an umpire that day that's putting, they're looking this way, right? So they're putting, like, it would be over my left shoulder.
Yeah.
But he has his hand on me. And like most opposite have it, I was like, hey man, it's fine. You put your hand on me, just don't push me. They don't know. Yeah. Sometimes some umps, as they're seeing, they're pushing they're pushing your shoulder. They don't know how to put pressure. You just gotta stop doing it. So this happens. He throws a slider, and it happens so fast. Like, what's his name? I can't remember pronouncing the umpire's name. So he's pushing me. So he's pushing me back this way. That slider just keeps going, and I'm like trying to fight. Like, it's either going to hit the hitter or in between, and it goes off my glove, goes to the backstop. I mean, nobody's on base, right? Nobody's on base, but this psychopath is coming. He go running out there.
Oh no!
And he just starts screaming. I thought it was the greatest thing. So I run back. I go, listen. And the next pitch, umpires. I go, you can't put your hand. I go, if I drop another ball, this guy's gonna stick a knife in my neck. We gotta come up with another. You can't be in there. So the whole game, he doesn't know he's doing it. And if he would at one point, if he would have moved his arm, I swear I would have fell over. Like, I'm just trying to catch the slider. So this slider was probably the nastiest. That was probably a hard pitch to catch because it just kept going. 93 miles an hour too, by the way, from 5 feet.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow, what a journey, dude. What a journey.
What's up, man?
So what, you finished baseball and then, obviously there's a time when you said, okay, this is it. Then you're moving on and what'd you do? I mean, you went and coached for a little bit, yeah? Yeah.
So I thought best to kind of stay in the game. I thought I'd want to stay in the game. You got a family, man. I think part of the decision was that. I think the sacrifice. I think at the time, your better half going through that. They're sacrificing with you. So you kind of ask. I never had that. It was always kind of on my terms. I think after I retired, and I asked that question, like, are we good with the family wise? So I think it was like, if it's in your system, go try to get out. So I wanted to go in and and coach to see how it was going to be. And I think just timing wise, I didn't mind the coaching at all. I was with the Mets and stuff, and it was good. I think that hindsight, I think we were technically, me and Julio Franco were both going to coach, right? I was supposed to go to AAA that year, just kind of be one of the coaches and kind of learn from Ken Oberfeld.
Wow, these '90s
Yeah.
names, dude, they just
Yeah,
throw.
he was because I played AAA with those guys. Him and so they were really good. They were the ones that really thought that that I should kind of stay in the game.
Yeah.
Things happen where some coaches, so I ended up managing. Me and Julio became managers right away. So rookie ball, I was in Kingsport for a couple of years, and I think for me, it was more of a personal decision. It was tough. I think with my daughters being kind of middle school aged and stuff. Just all
Yeah,
that,
that's
just
a tough
the time
road,
it
man.
was right for me to. If I was going to start something else, if I was going to start another career, I was 39. I was fortunate enough I got to play till I was almost 40. So now I've coached 42 years, 2 years. So, if I was going to have to either try to stay in the game or try to do something like try to build another career, I thought that was kind of the timing for it. And, it kind of worked out. I was a medical device for 12 years. So now I'm kind of back almost to that circle where
Yeah.
looking now the game, I have more of that time. Now I don't know if the game's going to be able to accept me back or whatever, but that's what I'm looking to do. Like right now, one of my good friends runs a baseball program, so I'm helping him out. The U12 AU team, we got practice tonight. So
Yeah.
I
That's
think
interesting, man. Because I mean,
like the love of my game, the love of the game is kind of
it never goes away. It never goes.
never goes away, man. I call myself. I was talking to those catchers, and I think I was hyperventilating. It's like, oh, give me a second. I go, man, I'm excited. I haven't been out here.
Yeah.
I've been out here doing this in a while. So the kids are like kind of looking at me, laughing. I'm like,
So what are some of the takeaways from sports that you still use today that kind of have helped you succeed? I mean, I know you went into medical device for a while. That obviously was a huge change of pace, right? You're in a whole different world, but at least what I found was I could take the frameworks of baseball that I learned and sports in general that I learned, and I put that into my whatever it was, right? For me, it was acting and writing for a while.
yeah.
And I was able to put the stick to itiveness, I got to work harder than everybody else. I'm the only one I'm competing against myself kind of thing. Are there some other things that you took out of sports and that you use today and everything else you do?
Yeah, I think so. I think all those too, Snide, because I think anything with sports, it has to build some type of work ethic.
Yeah.
I think you can be successful in sports and most things in life and anyway. So I think that was it. I think being part of a team environment, I think it helps you to
For me, it's been personalities, right? I mean, you learn
just knowing different, like we didn't really see at least on my team or sports, and it's such a sensitive time in our era right now, which kind of stinks. Race and all that kind of gets brought up quite a bit, but we didn't really look at it that way. Yes, I know that I had black teammates or Spanish teammates, or then they had white teammates or Spanish teammates or what, but I didn't really look at it that way. I think what sports taught me more, besides the work ethic of a drive that you need to be successful. Anything in life is also just how you mold with your personalities of people around you. It's not about how they look or who
yeah,
they are. Just becomes your on the thing about sports teams. Usually there's an isolated team that you're on, so that
yeah,
team becomes your family. They become your brothers for that day or whoever else is there. So we didn't really see. I just know names and nicknames, and
right.
it wasn't really put. We were all there for a common, for a common purpose in a sense. And I think that one thing about sports, it just taught me like a no quit attitude.
Yeah,
I think you have to handle adversity, and in life too. But sports, I think, you have to learn that kind of in competition. You're gonna have, you're learning that earlier.
yeah,
I think you learn a little bit of some thick skin. I think you learn failure. I think
right.
you learn how to handle failure for sports. I mean, for baseball, for baseball, I think that's kind of helped. I mean, heck, I'm playing a sport that I'm going to fail 70% of the time, and
That's right.
I'm going to be considered one of the best ever play.
Yeah. Well,
So
baseball in general, I mean, is set up for failure. Sports
it's
in
a
general,
setup to fail.
you're set up for failure.
Yes, it's a
Like you
failure.
said, if you
Yeah,
miss 70% of the time, you're potential Hall of Famer.
yeah.
If you give up 3 runs a game, that's good. It's very rare that you're rewarded for what you do well. It's how can you overcome that failure? And in baseball, more than any sport, you're playing almost every day, and so you have to get past that adversity. You have to get past that failure. You have to learn if you do win, then you can't just throw your glove back out there the next day. You got to go back at it just as hard as you did.
Where's that line?
The day
Where's
before.
that kind of they call it the horizon or the even keel.
Yeah.
I think that's what thing with sports does is you prepare yourself for all that
Right.
failure. Then it's because nothing's really the same. Yes,
Yeah.
we're all lined up the same, but every game's different. Every
Yeah.
game's a little different. There's those little nuances of the game. Whether baseball, when somebody says, "Hey, it doesn't matter. I could, CBC in the ball like a watermelon or whatever," but that guy on the mound the ball might feel like it's like a pea to him, and he's hitting every spot. Somebody one strength versus strength is going to win out. So I think once I kind of understood that sport is, you can still be at your best, and there might be somebody better that day, but it's kind of the process is the process works, and it helps you. I might really put this in a great example. Thing I took out is like with the medical device job. I guess there's little things. So how am I gonna? I've never sold anything. Was I a salesman? No. I mean, I think we're selling ourselves. Constantly. Sometimes as an athlete, you have to sell yourself, or am I good enough? But it's all physically. But I never really knew that. Like, how am I gonna to go in
Right.
this? How am I gonna know what these doctors? So what did I do? I took it. I have doctors. Right? I had to deal with doctors. So they're now my pitching staff. Right. So I had to learn their personalities, just like I did the pitchers. So those sports helped me become
Personality
build
management.
the territory.
Yeah.
Because it was about, at the end of the day, it's about the people and getting to know who you're working on. And once I learned, the thing about sports, I was the product. I had to learn the product in medical device, and then try to how to implement it. So the same thing, man. Me and you, like you walking. I got to get to know you. We're gonna go out and throw a 9-inning baseball game. I can't just know what your 3 pitches are or 4 pitches are. That's not enough.
Right.
It's not enough, man. It might be windy and rainy that day. It might be blue and sunny. I mean, you might have, slept a little wrong or something. I got to know all those things, and you physically might feel just a little different than you did today. But if I don't get to know you, know your personality, but know how you tick, or know when you're good, like when you're at your best,
Right.
and maybe at your worst, then I'm never going to be able to help you with in between that.
Yeah.
Right? When you're at your best, I'm not doing anything. But you're at your worst, I'm trying to do everything, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just don't have it that day. But there's the meat and potato of it, right? Of any thing. So I try to take those things within my sales job too. I got to identify this. There's going to be bad days and worse days, but this is going to be the grind. What do I have to do in here to be successful? And I think that I try to use that. Like, if I get to know the doctors and I know my product, everything kind of falls into place. But
Yeah, no, that's well put. That's well put. I mean, you're everything from a psychologist to a personality manager to an implementer, and so it's all those things.
Yeah, there's certain
So
guys.
I see some art on the back of the wall there. Is that your escape now? Is that your
This is art. This is one of my new hobbies besides golf.
Yeah.
So me and my daughters, and now pretty much anybody that comes over has to paint.
That's cool.
So we kind of started out with some just drawing, but now we kind of pour paint. So I don't know, I was going out buying
Supplies and stuff.
art for your house or whatever. Like, why don't we just make our own? So when you have teenagers, right? We talked about earlier how we keep them off the phone right now. When we grew up, man, we didn't have it. So I don't know if I'd be I better not. I know I was always outside until, I just had to be in for dinner.
Yep.
Um,
Same here.
but yeah, this art's been good. I've kind of evolved into some pouring it, but everybody comes. When you come down, Snide, you'll be painting. I mean, you really have no
I
choice.
hear you, brother. Yeah, I mean, we're
I
gonna.
mean, we got one. A friend showed up the other day. It's outside. So yeah,
That's awesome.
their art's out there. They gotta paint it.
So D, thanks for joining me, man. I mean, I'll I'll put this up on the site and we'll see where it goes from here. But a lot of insight, a lot of good information, a lot of fun. Thanks for joining the bullpen.
No, it was great catching up, Snide. Can't
Yeah,
wait to
man.
do it again.
All right, brother.
All right, we'll talk to you.